Alright fellas, here we're back on Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be taking a look at Special Costume Adaman and Ursaluna. He drops in pretty much 2 days from now, about probably more so like a day and a few hours realistically. He's going to be coming alongside the Special Costume event, The Power of Dance, which, interesting thing is that they've already revealed the stuff, I think, yesterday for this event, but they also revealed that Tierno and Dahlia would also be arriving. Obviously they are centered in the event, but I didn't expect them to actually release these characters all of their like banner information date, because Tierno and Dahlia, they have their information out in public now, like they, you know, when they drop, not their kits and whatnot, but when their banner drops, which is surprising. They released they released the dates of all 4 new units, which is interesting, but whatever. This is about Adaman here. I'm going to be going a little bit quicker here because I am on a time crunch. It's 11 p.m. Anyway, whatever. So looking at this guy, he is a physical striker with the support EX roll, which is very strong for sure. Ground typing, water weakness, dropping on March 14th for the Costume Scout, and leaves April 3rd, so giving you about 2.5 weeks, a little bit over that, to pull for this guy, which is good for sure. He's a Ground Sinnoh, Special Costume, Nature 11 Artistic character. Looking at the stats, he's got 297 attack, 137 in both defenses, 263 speed, and 738 health. Those are pretty underwhelming for stats. 6-star EX does help. Defenses are okay now. HP is good. Attack is still pretty low for being a 6-star EX character. And speed is fine, right? Obviously, you can increase attack a little bit more with level 150, but 353 attack is still relatively low. It's not like horrible, but it's definitely not anything crazy for sure. It's not like Anniversary Steven bad, at least, alright? It's not that bad. Anyway, whatever. Let's look at the moves. He's got Facade, which is a 2-gauge move, which is doubled in power when affected by a status condition. Potions, which heal by 40% health. This is going to be pretty useful on him, realistically. And of course for allies, right? These guys' turn move times are changing, which raises his attack by 6, raises his crit by 3, and leaves him burned. Burn is a good thing for this guy because he has his passive skill called Burning Dance, which powers up moves when affected by a status condition and ignores reduction of attack by being burned. So this is probably anywhere between a 20, 30, and 50% multiplier. On the high end, 50%, that is a great multiplier. On the low end, that's still pretty good, right? So I wouldn't be too upset about this. Whether it's 20% or 50%, it's still a good multiplier for sure. And a multiplier is a multiplier. And again, it helps with his lower attack, so that's nice. He's got Hazy Headlong Rush, which is his buddy move. 2-gauge move, 200 power, targets one opponent. Activation condition is when the user is burned, so that's pretty easy to get. The move never misses. The smaller the user's HP remaining, the greater the power of this attack. We don't know how the HP scales. I think we do have some things that may work off of this, so maybe we can calculate that. I don't know the exact multipliers though. Either way, it's a power up for being lower on health. It'll still be powerful at high health because 200 power moves are still going to hit relatively hard, especially with the Burning Dance passive skill. So you've got some pretty good power at full health, and then the lower HP you go, obviously the more your power up is going to be, which is good for sure. And of course he does have potions to mitigate burn damage, which can be helpful in healing him. So that's why he's got potions, which is great. He's got Outrun 3, which charges Gauge when the user is affected by a status condition. This is mostly, I feel, going to be useful for, you know, slower team compositions, because Ground is not exactly a fast typing. Righty Giovanni's not fast. Courtney's definitely not fast. Other strikers like Maxi aren't really that fast. So running him on a ground-based team, and obviously a team without like any speed buffers, having this passive could be helpful, but obviously it's nothing to like write home about. It's not like absurd, but this is also probably gonna be pretty good for like gauntlet runs, right? Because Gauge is definitely needed there for sure. And then he's got a status condition, sync move up 9, powering up the sync move when affected by a status condition. This is a 90% multiplier, meaning at base with this guy, you've got yourself a 1 out of 5, 200 power move that is powered up the more his HP is lowered. Potions for healing HP in case your HP does get too low. 337 attack. Obviously, you can go higher with the level 150. He's got himself the easy ability to max his attack and crit and be burned for himself. Facade is mostly useless. This is only if you really, really want to try him out for normal damage, which I feel could work. Like if you want to run him with like Palmer or something, you could do it. But realistically, it's just far better to run the ground comp. Facade would have been better if they directly powered it up or something like Facade Critical Strike 9 or something. You probably could have made some good work out of, but probably not even then, realistically. And then again, 90% in sync move multipliers, up to a 50% multiplier in a passive skill here for his DPS. it's looking pretty good, right? Even with a lowered attack stat, I feel that this is going to be a pretty sufficient ground unit. If you have someone like Cynthia, Variety Giovanni, Signature Giovanni, or Maxi, I wouldn't say this guy's like a necessity or anything like that, but he still could be good for anyone who has a lower tier ground roster, especially for newer players who obviously probably don't have any good ground unit, right? Maybe Courtney, and outside of that, like, who do you really have? Courtney, maybe Nita. Maybe if you're an older player, you have Maxi or Cynthia or something if you are returning, but even then, probably a little bit less likely. And then Hapu and Clay as free-to-play options. Yeah, no, this guy's definitely a great ground option for sure. Is he more valuable than Gita or Silver? No, definitely not, but it's definitely something you may want to consider if you really do like Adaman and you want a ground character or something. Whatever. Either way, a 1 out of 5 I'd say is okay. 90% sync move multiplier is definitely better than a lot of other strikers for sure, so his nuking ability is not hindered. And he's got himself a pretty damn good DPS option, only really held back by lower attack stats, which is not that bad. It's really not. This is his only real downside. Everything else to this guy is great. I guess burn damage too could gradually wear you down, but again, you have potions to mitigate that, and you also can bring allies to help mitigate that. And of course, you can give him Gritty 3, by the way, I failed to mention that. You can give him Gritty 3 for a 30% lucky skill multiplier without having to run like Surging Sand. Critical Strike 2 is obviously a 10% less multiplier, or whatever it may be. But also consider Gritty 3 is only really good if you do plan on using normal moves, not attacks, right? Because Critical Strike 2 does power up sync moves, Gritty does not. So if you're going for DPS, Gritty is good. If you're going for a nuking option, Critical Strike 2 is going to be better, or lessen burn 9 if you want to mitigate burn damage, whichever it may be. So that's him at 1 out of 5. I'd say he's pretty solid, but he does get pretty crazy with dupes. 2 out of 5, he doesn't really get much. He gets lessen burn 9, pinch burn, hit recovery, potion healing, and initial physical boost, and then endurance. And I guess Defense Crush with Facade could be helpful too. This is probably not a bad 2 out of 5, honestly. Endurance for healing, though this is not really that great because you're just going to die to burn the next turn. But I mean, it could be good in case like you're like that close to victory. Who knows? Flabbergast is fine for leaving enemies confused, you know, Buxie and Legendary Gauntlets and whatever else that may require a stats change. Pinch hit physical burn is good for restoring HP when you're burned, right? You'll take the burn damage, you'll heal up a little bit of it, it'll mitigate it, it'll be essentially like having lessened burn. But really, if you combine both of those together, you're actually going to be healing from burn damage, which can be good if you don't want to faint, right? But also could be bad if you want to get lower health, so that you're powering up your Hazy Headlong Rush. So be careful of picking up either of these. You know, if you heal up too much, it'll mitigate the damage buff you get from this, and if you don't have enough healing, then you're going to get yourself KO'd to burn too quickly. But again, he does have potions to mitigate that. So what would I prioritize? I probably just wouldn't pick up Lessen Burn. Honestly, probably just wouldn't pick it up. But if I do feel like I need it, then sure, pick it up. Why not? You can. It's a good option. You've got options, which is fine. And then Potion Master Healer and Initial Pinch, Physical Boost 3. This is a funny, like, hey, this guy can nuke. He can do a little bit of a nuclear bomb type of thing, right? It's pretty interesting. I'd say the biggest use that this has is like in the stadium where you drop below 33% health. You probably pick up like the half ally HP parameter, get hit by an AoE move, drop below 30% health, get this boost here, and then your next Hazy Headlong Rush is hitting like a nuclear weapon, which is pretty strong. And then you can obviously heal yourself up with potions. Very, very nice there as well. Especially good in the gauntlet for sure. So not a bad 2 out of 5. Would I ever candy him to 2 out of 5 instead of just going straight to 3 out of 5? Probably not. Because at 3 out of 5 he gets Haymaker, Wounded Sync up 9, Gritty 3, Burned Hit Move Gauge up 2, which is, sure. Burned Hit Physical Boost up 1, 9. Oh, I love this node. Danger Damage Guard, and Attack plus 30. And I guess Pinch Push. You know what, sure, I'll show Pinch Push. And then the Sync nodes, of course. These are some pretty decent nodes. All things considered, these are pretty decent. Obviously, the plus 30 attack helps mitigate his low attack and puts him at a respectable attack stat. Especially after level 150, he's now nearly 400 attack, which is very, very strong. But realistically, I probably just wouldn't pick it up because mostly a lack of great energy. Haymaker's great. Plus that plus Wounded Sync up 9, that's 190% multipliers. And if you remember, we've got Status Condition Sync move up 9, which is 280% in total multipliers. And again, if you have not noticed, this is very easy to activate. It's not like you're going out of your way to like debuff the enemy, put a status condition or a status change on the enemy. All of this requires is max attack, which he gives from his trainer move, status condition on himself, which is his entire kit, and again, he gives it on his trainer move, and then wounded sync up 9. This does not mean you get more power-ups from the more your HP is lowered. This just means if you are at below 100% health, this is fully activated. You could be at you could have 700 health, well, I guess 838 health. If you go down to 837 health, this will be fully activated. That's a great multiplier. That is extremely easy to activate because he's going to be taking damage from 1, enemies, and from 2, burn, right? So he's going to be taking damage in some form. So this is going to be activated probably turn 2, turn 3 at least when you're going to be syncing with him. So this is an extremely easy sync move to max out, which is definitely something that's worth investing in for sure. Probably going to have to build this grid, realistically speaking, because, oh boy, getting everything else is a little bit too expensive. Going to the other things that he's got here, burned hit move gauge up 2. This is great for the gauntlet. This means you're fully gauge efficient when you're using Hazy Headlong Rush. You don't have to worry about gauge. I don't know if it's really worth picking up, but it could be. Gauntlet people have to test that out, probably. Physical boost up 1/9. This would be a great node. This is an amazing node if it wasn't like, imagine you are in the middle of France. This thing is fighting on like the front lines in like China. This node is so far away from home base that it is discovering new lands. You're not finding this node. This node is gone. It is like lost. It is probably history, all right? This node probably doesn't even exist anymore. It's like the myth. It's like the myth of the grid. You're not reaching it. The big point is that there is so much energy that needs to be taken in order to get to this node that picking it up is just not worth it. You shouldn't pick it up unless, of course, you do go for burned hit move gauge up to 9, which is, again, useful in probably the gauntlet or any stage where you really need to be self-sufficient. Mostly just the gauntlet. That's pretty much it, really. But it could be good then. But either way, you also do have to consider you still want to pick up all the sync nuke stuff. And even if we took out everything that I'm not picking up, that's minus 11 energy, man. Take out Gritty 3, you're still at minus 1. You're really sacrificing a lot just to pick this up, right? You could sacrifice, I guess, 90% multipliers because I guess it matters less for the gauntlet, but oh man, that's a lot to sacrifice, realistically speaking, right? So yeah, you could pick up something like this, could work out fine. Maybe do something like that for the gauntlet, I'm not too sure. But either way, these nodes are good, but you're not going to pick this up in any realistic scenario where you would really want it, and this is only really useful for the gauntlet. So those are really what these nodes are for. Danger, Damage Guard, and Pinch Push 3, and Initial Hit Physical Boost 3, these are all like big gimmick, like nuke strats, so to speak. This pretty much means that if Adaman drops below 30% health, he gets Damage Guard, he gets minus 3 sync countdown, and he gets plus 3 physical moves next. Basically, if Adaman gets to a critical point in HP, it's like, alright, I'm gonna go down, so I'm taking something down with me. That is pretty much his goal. And of course, the Danger Damage Guard does help him out in getting potions up, right? So like you drop below 30% HP, you can prevent yourself from getting hit from an AoE move or a strong attack, get potioned up, make sure you're good and healthy, and then you start whamming them with another Hazy Headlong Rush, right? That's generally a pretty good idea. Is this a practical strategy? Probably not really. I don't know if you would really want to pick up Danger Damage Guard. I mean, maybe it could be useful for like saving yourself in a gauntlet run or something, but really I don't see the most value in picking it up. But though realistically, maybe you would pick up like Potion NPR or something in the Legendary Gauntlet battles anyway, so maybe this could be helpful. I don't know. I'm not a Gauntlet runner, so either way. And if I do want to pick that up, I probably just wouldn't pick up that, so that could work out here. This is probably a good grid for the Gauntlet, all things considered. Yeah, so this guy's got a lot of stuff. He's got nuke multipliers, he's got DPS multipliers, he's got gauge efficiency multipliers, and even health efficiency multipliers, right? This guy's got pretty much everything you would want. If you want a very conventional grid build, so let's say full nuke Champion Stadium, you just want to go sync nuke and KO all the enemies. Very simple grid build. Pretty much this is what you're going for. This is it. Even the grid energy agrees with me, right? Though you probably would want to go for that and get like plus 2 energy from the grid expansion, but you could just go for this if you don't want to give him like that plus 2 energy. That's fair enough, but this is probably your go-to grid. You get all the sync nodes, you get a 30% DPS multiplier, you get a little bit of HP recovery, and you got both sync nodes. Perfect. If you want to prioritize a fun gimmick strat, you would probably want Initial Hit Physical Boost and Pinch Push 3. You could pick up Danger Damage Guard, but generally these type of strategies here that want the sync countdown and the physical boost is something that you're either going to be you're going to have an ally that can heal you, or you're going to be trying to KO the enemy as fast as possible to where this danger damage guard wouldn't be too necessary. So something like this would probably be picked up. You do want Gritty 3 to maximize your damage, right? However you can pick that up, I have no idea. I guess maybe you want to do a partial nuke, you could go for something like that. Because all this stuff does cost 10 energy. Keep that in mind, all this stuff does cost the same amount of energy. You could probably pick this up if you want to go for a partial sync nuke activation, plus the physical moves next, right? That's probably fair enough. And then again, for the gauntlet, you probably want to pick up the gauge up. You probably want to pick up part of the sync nuke, Gritty 3 as well. But of course, you also could probably want to pick up potions. So at that point, probably just sacrifice the Gritty 3 or sacrifice the sync nuke multiplier, whatever it may be. At this point, in this specific grid example, I probably would just end up giving myself the +2 grid energy. Because you do consider, again, we do have that +10 energy from the grid expansions. If you are getting Adaman to 3 out of 5, that is +6 available energy to you. So you can build that, maybe get yourself an extra sync node, whatever. I'm not a gauntlet runner. There's probably going to be different grids for different legendary arenas and whatnot. I would say that this guy's probably pretty capable of soloing like Latios, Tapu Bulu, Raikou, those type of arenas that are not really too gimmicky. I would say that this guy could probably cover them pretty easily, just due to having potions mostly. Like, he's got potions, he's got gauge efficiency. That's the big thing that you kind of want to solo a lot of these easier legendary arenas, and that's about it. But yeah, again, that's pretty much all I've got to say about Adaman. He's a really, really strong character. I'm glad he is this strong. I love Adaman as a character. I love this this kit. I will be summoning for him. I will be doing a 1 out of 5 showcase, 3 out of 5 showcase, and then a 3 out of 5 EX roll showcase, all individually for those that are interested. I have no idea what I'm going to do for teams. I'll probably cook some up tomorrow, because again, this is also a few days before he drops, so I've got time, I guess. But yeah. Overall, that's my review for Adaman. He's a strong ground striker, even at 1 out of 5, with some pretty good nodes there at 1 out of 5 that can help him be a little bit more worthwhile to pick up. But once he does get 2 dupes, he does get a lot stronger, because Haymaker and Wounded Stick up 9 are both really crazy things to pick up. Gritty 3 is also really good for a 30% DPS multiplier, healing, sync nodes, pinch push 3, initial boot, physical boost 3. Even these nodes, despite the fact that you're probably not going to pick up either of them in most scenarios, are also really good, and yeah, definitely love it. So let me know what you think about Adaman's kit and whatnot down in the comments below. Let me know if you're going to be pulling for him, and yeah, be on the lookout for the showcase, and I'll see you all later.